It's a cold winter's night in West Texas as Abilene Christian University welcomes in the Seattle Redhawks, who have flown south for a week of games in Texas. This is WAC basketball on ESPN+. Welcome to Moody Coliseum. Grant Boone alongside Coach Ron Holmes. Here on Valentine's Eve, I'll borrow a phrase from the philosopher Forrest Gump. The WAC is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. Both of these two teams, Coach, were really struggling last week. They won a pair of games, and here they are riding high.
I dare anyone to pick a winner in any game. ACU did their work on the road.
Yeah.
When we thought they would do their work at home, most of the other teams in the WAC have done their work at home and not done their work on the road. We'll see.
Seattle's coming off a big buzzer-beating win at home, and as we take a look at the standings, you see there's Utah Valley leading it by a game and a half over Grand Canyon. With those two victories, Abilene Christian has moved up into 7th place. Remember, the 8 and 9 teams will play for a spot in WAC Vegas at the end of the regular season. Let's take a look, Coach, at our impact players. Braden Maldonado, first-year player for Chris Victor at Seattle, newcomer and player of the week sweep, and Hunter Jack Madden looks like he's back for ACU.
Hunter Jack is a Phoenix bird. He has risen from the ashes.
Yeah. And we'll see if he can keep it up. He had 40 points last week in those two games, 22 and 18. Let's meet the third member of our broadcast team with more. Here is Zion Webb.
Thanks, guys. The Wildcats look to secure their first 3-game winning streak on the season here tonight. But both of these two teams are coming in hot on 2-game winning streaks. Seattle U in their last two has held their opponents to just 59 points a game, while the Wildcats have scored 85 in their 2 games as well. It'll be interesting to see how dominance on both sides of the coin will end up here tonight, guys.
Zion, thank you. I feel woefully underdressed after seeing Zion's on camera. Welcome to Moody. Here we go. Antonio Petty is going to toss it skyward. Jeff Malum and Chris Pacey, the other two officials. Matthew Alexander Moncrief and Leo Bettio in the jump circle, and ACU controls the tip. Starting lineups brought to you by LMB Real Estate, the home team for all your buying and selling needs in the big country. Abilene Christian coming off a week in Utah in which they did not trail in beating Utah Tech and Southern Utah. Hunter Jack Madden was hot last week, can't get that one to go. And the double-double machine, Matthew Alexander Moncrief, gets a first board of the night.
Had ACU been able to score on that possession, that would have been quite the steal on the jump ball because they value the ball. Seattle's possession is top 10 in the nation as far as controlling.
Each team turns it over. And there's Kobe Williamson with the lob. It's knocked away. Williamson kicks it out, and a 3 from Deshaun Stevens. And they call it a 2, all right. And ACU trails for the first time in 2 weeks. This is Keon Williams up in the air to Madden, rises up right wing. That's what we've seen the last week from Hunter Jack, the Aussie.
A much better pace. It wasn't an accident. You know, the last 2 games I've watched him on ESPN+. There's the plug. And boy, he is shooting quick.
You got the 2 Aussies contributing early for each team, Williamson and Madden. Moncrief with 10 on the timer. And again, a turnover and a foul on Seattle. So this is a team that turns it over, Coach, less than 10 times per game. And yet, you've got the team that leads the conference in takeaways in ACU, strength on strength.
Oh, absolutely. But you're going to have to you're going to have to execute in the half court and blow up screens because there may not be any turnovers there tonight.
2 minutes in, Abilene Christian leading it. Great game in Seattle back in January. Keon tries a 3, and he gets it to go. So each team has a high major portal transfer who's made significant impact. Matthew Alexander Moncrief for Seattle and Keon Williams for ACU.
Both from Oklahoma State.
And Keon there for a couple of years, and nice defense by Hubbard, but the big fella Williamson to Moncrief, and a blocking foul on Madden. And Matthew Alexander Moncrief will go to the free throw line. Brett Tanner in his 4th season, just like Chris Victor of Seattle. He was here for 8 years as the associate head coach to Joe Golding. They turned this program from one of the worst in Division II, then Division I, to a 2-time NCAA tournament team that beat the University of Texas on a night when Goliath fell in Indianapolis. And ACU won at 53-52. And Tanner now, who took his team to the WAC championship game in his first year in the WAC. Along the way, they beat Seattle, which had won to share the conference title.
That's quite a year. That's quite a run. If I remember correctly, they had to win 4 in a row, or they would have had to.
They would have had to win 4 in a row. This is Bettiol, who went for 10 and 15 last year against Seattle. Can't get that one to go, and here come the Red Hawks. Malik Arrington has been outstanding running the point, drawing praise from Brett Tanner, the way that the Idaho State transfer has blended in with his new team. And Bettiol with good defense. Hubbard, the JUCO transfer, ahead to Rich Smith, and Smith finishes with a left hand.
That's been the story for ACU the last, since they've turned it around 1-2 in a row on the road. But you can see it coming, Grant, because they're a transition team now. They're scoring in transition instead of half-court sets.
So Seattle lost 3 in a row, then won both at home last week. ACU had really been struggling at 1-6, and then they win 2 in Utah. Utah Tech last Thursday, and then Southern Utah Saturday. Fall away, no, but a stick back up, no, by Moncrief. Chased down by Smith, and the Wildcats look to run. This is the big fella, Bettiol. Chris Victor called him the Beast for Abilene Christian.
He's probably one of the few in the WAC that will play. Oh, there you go. Good footwork. But he'll play a standard position that we don't see much anymore because it's positionless in the WAC. Or it's positionless in NCAA basketball this year anyway.
The Italian went down under to beat the Aussie. There's a knock away, and Madden can't chase it down. This is Stevens. Got a media timeout coming to the next whistle. Moncrief, oh, fancy move on Bettiol. Can you tell he played at Oklahoma State and Georgia?
Absolutely. 14 and 11. You can see why he's averaging 14.
And in conference play, even better. 15 and a half. Bettiol will take a 3 occasionally. Madden working through traffic. Seattle leads the conference in fewest points allowed. And Keon turns it over. Abilene Christian trying to make it 3 in a row. They're not going to leave Texas until the conference tournament. Home sweet home for ACU. They lead by 4. Back here in Abilene, Texas, about 2 hours west of Fort Worth. Third time that Seattle has come here to Abilene. Keys to the game brought to you by Texas Ford Dealers. Coach for Seattle, protect the ball as they've done better than anyone. Madden controller. They need to stop Hunter Jack Madden, who had a big week. And for ACU, defend without fouling. That's been a challenge for Coach Tanner's team, and be the aggressor.
Well, ACU is going to have to attack on every possession and get to the hole because they do not defend the basket. Seattle does not defend the basket that well.
Paris Dawson missed last week, tending to some family issues. Great to see him back in that Seattle uniform. John Christopoulos had the big 3, but the Red Hawks turn it over. Christian Alston, the freshman from Memphis, Tennessee. Got Nazir DeGrue at the point in the game. He's got the ball there. Bettiol has it poked away, chased down by Alston. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
There he is.
High post Bettiol. He can make the mid-ranger. Oh, and his pass is knocked away. Madden's got it. Time running out on the shot clock. Fall away to beat the buzzer. It grazes the rim. It goes out of bounds off of Alston's knee.
Somewhat of an accidental possession. You have to value every possession when you play these guys. If you're the Wildcats. I mentioned Seattle's pace. They're one of the top 10 in the nation in pace. And by that, I mean you get very few possessions. You have to value every possession. Give the ball eyes. Don't blind the ball.
Allowing just 64 points per game in this era of college basketball. Mighty impressive. 134th career game for Kobe Williamson. The ball's lost, and an and one chance for Moncrief, fouled by his opposite number, as he was in the right place at the right time as the ball got knocked away from Williamson.
This is Seattle's game, though, Grant. They'll run 5 out, no post, positionless ball game, but they'll take you off the dribble. They'll clear a side, and then Moncrief will take you down and try to score over the top of you. They've only had him back for just a little while. He played he didn't get to play most of the first part of the season.
Yeah, Williamson, broken foot, missed the first 12 games, so tonight he becomes Seattle's all-time leader in games played. Moncrief, not a great free throw shooter, pretty good there, and it's 10-9. There have been some great games between these two teams through the years, and it was a Moncrief bucket with 4 seconds to go. He got it done in Seattle back in January. Fall away from Keon Williams, no, and Horniker sticks it back up and in.
Brett Tanner,
7-footer from Amarillo?
Yeah, Brett Tanner saying we have a 7-footer. He showed.
They had a great one in Colton Cole when they went to the NCAA tournament and beat Texas. Alston, good defense, better offense from Moncrief. There's Chris Victor. DeGrew, kick out. Alston's minutes have increased as the year's gone on. He battled through the flu midway through December. Rise and shoot for 3. Yes, Christian Olsen, Bartlett High School in Memphis. After Christian's got a couple of really nice freshmen.
Oh, two really nice freshmen. They're coming on. They're really grown up. They're not freshmen anymore, Grant. We've had Christmas. We're in the second semester. They're
This
just
is
not freshmen.
Moncrief finding Christopoulos. That was the same corner where he hit the 3 at home to beat UT Arlington last Saturday. He'll try one here. Yes, well, he and Hunter Jack Madden both going through career slumps, but maybe both of them getting out of it at just the right time for their teams. 1-point game. Hubbard's a good 3-point shooter. That one won't go. Alston got his hands on it. And here is Chris Victor. Took over for Jim Hayford right before the season started in the 2021-22 campaign. Named the interim head coach. All he did was lead them to 23 wins, their most since they went to the championship game of the 1958 NCAA tournament and lost to Adolph Rupp's Kentucky Wildcats. They had a guy named Elgin Baylor who was pretty good back then.
You're dating yourself?
Yeah.
But he was a great player.
They went to the NAIA Division II ranks, Division III briefly, but now back in Division I. And Maldonado. Take another look here at Moncrief, kicking it out to Christopoulos. So his last 2 threes have gone in. One to win the game last Saturday night, and that one to pull his team within 1. It's Malik Arrington. And that one pops out. Maldonado for Chris Victor is one of those players, a little bit like Braden Hubbard for ACU. They've emerged in their first season with their team, and both missed as Yanni Rivera comes down with the rebound for ACU. So both of these teams, like everybody in college basketball, working in new players. How quickly do they adapt? That generally signals how well your team has done in the early going. Hubbard, physical, knocked away, regains it, onto the basket for Smith. That was fancy and determined, Braden Hubbard.
Oh, no doubt. They're just bouncing. It's a Shaquille O'Neal move. It's just charge, dunk. I mean, they're backing them down.
Both teams shooting about 50% from the floor so far. ACU 3 of 6 from 3 as their 3-point shooting has improved here in the last couple of weeks. Arrington picks the dribble up. And a nice running lay-in for Will Heimbrot, who just checked in.
I want to watch these screens. I think if you're at home watching this game.
Smith saw the waters part, and he went right down the middle, had it knocked out of his hands. It'll be ACU ball after the media timeout. Good game so far. Back and forth we go. The freshman Christian Alston with one of ACU's 3 threes.
One of my favorite things about ACU TV is the way that we're constantly progressing and moving in a better direction. We're all just getting better as the seasons go on. Every game we come onto the field better than the last.
I didn't come in with a ton of experience behind a camera, but this environment really just does help you grow. And it's very cool to be able to say, like, I am producing something for ESPN.
If you want to thrive in this field, I definitely recommend for you to join ACU TV.
I do not like traveling 2.5 hours in the traffic and working your way through the bigger airports. I prefer to fly ABI. And it's important to just know that you can go anywhere in the world from a small town like Abilene.
The hunger to win is fueled by a chance to compete and the thrill of the action. The cheers from the crowd energize our team and push them on to victory. Whether it's the pre-game excitement of tailgating or the post-game euphoria of winning celebrations, United Supermarkets always brings an A-game to your party. From kickoff to tip-off and the final buzzer to the last out, United Supermarkets is proud to be the official sponsor of Abilene Christian University.
And something special happened last Saturday against UT Arlington. Seattle U was down by 1 with 7 seconds left on the clock after sitting on the bench for the final 7 minutes of the game and missing all of his 3-point attempts. John Christopoulos got one last chance and made it count. Subbing in for only the final play of the game, he drilled a corner 3 at the buzzer to lift Seattle U over UTA 67-65. Guys.
Chris Victor had talked about how many close games they'd had that hadn't gone their way. Hubbard with an chance. And ACU is going to the free throw line against Seattle. And that's big news. Because when they played in Seattle, as we take another look, Abilene Christian got 1 free throw in the first 37 minutes of that game. They wound up with 7. Seattle had 29 free throw attempts, and Seattle won the game by 2. So Hubbard, who has emerged during conference play, as we talked about, one of those newcomers. How quickly can you adapt? Especially, Chris Victor talked about this with some of his new guys. You're moving up a level. You're moving to Division I. Sometimes you feel intimidated, and he says, just be you. That's enough.
Well, yeah, but in this age of portal and transfer, you'd better adapt real quick.
Christopoulos with a jump stop, and it's taken away, and a reach-in foul here on Dan. The 6'10" center from China. And coach, how about this? 4 turnovers for the Redhawks. They only averaged less than 10 a game.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. We mentioned statistically how good ACU is at making you turn the ball over and how good they are at not letting you turn them over, and they've already got 4.
The best at forcing ACU, the best at protecting. And Braden Hubbard with another tough bucket. We mentioned it. He led the entire nation into JUCO ranks last year in points scored. And he's become a force. He leads the team in conference play in scoring, Hubbard.
Well, that in Seattle, there's a metric being measured now in basketball, college ball. If you get to the hole, get to the paint, how efficient are you?
Good ball movement.
If you're the opponent, 96%.
This is a near steal by Arrington, who, almost like a free safety, saw that one in the air.
That wasn't a good pass.
Couldn't save it in.
Well, you don't want to pass the ball cross court either.
Is that what Brett Tanner's saying? Look at him. It's like, what are you, crazy? What are you doing? I think that was just his play call. Brett Tanner said, I told the team last week before the Utah Tech game Thursday, you get stops, you play defense, and I'm going to turn you loose offensively. Well, it worked. And Hubbard again to the free throw line. He is, what you said earlier, attacking the basket.
Yeah, well, that's the game plan, attack, attack, attack. But again, I was trying to point out a stat that I probably screwed up, but 96%, if you get the ball in the paint against Seattle, 96% of the time good things are going to happen.
happening for Hubbard, who already has 5 points. And Hubbard also has, by the way, 3 assists.
He's grown into be a pretty good force.
How about Chris Victor? 4 years at Seattle, then named the interim head coach, won those 23 games. He said, I got to the end of March after we'd won 23 games. I didn't know if I was going to be the head coach, and they finally took that interim tag off. What a job he's done at Seattle. 2 23-win seasons. And Brett Tanner's done a pretty fine job himself. Tanner won 25 games in his first year as head coach here back in 2021-22. 24-16, ACU getting to the line, making shots, and getting some takeaways. Too strong off the backboard, and ACU with Keon Williams kissing it off the glass on Valentine's Eve.
Attack, attack, attack.
And a 10-point lead for Abilene Christian. They led by 11 in the second half in Seattle last month before the Redhawks came back to win it. Seattle went on a 15-0 run in the second half and won it there late. 3 won't go. And that was a 3 with a hand in the face of Maldonado. Abilene Christian looks to extend. Dontrez Williams, the other talented freshman. He from Sykeston, Missouri. Bettiol, right baseline. And a reach-in foul, and that is the 5th foul against Seattle. One more look here as Keon Williams took it hard against number 96 and got it to go.
You know, and we've talked about this before, that normally you would try to take a charge. This year you don't try to do that. The referee.
All right, so they are going to the monitor. 26-16. Coach, this is a little unusual. Seattle doesn't foul a lot typically. They don't turn the ball over that much, but 5 fouls against ACU so far. It's usually the Wildcats who have more fouls than their opponent, but 4 turnovers already for the Redhawks.
Well, if you're boxing or whatever it is that you're in, the aggressor always wins. And you have to come out and hit them right in the mouth. And ACU has done just that.
So they're looking to see if Bettiol maybe got Arrington in the chops with the elbow. Bryson Shake running the video review area over there. Scores table. One more look here. Arrington came to help, but let's take a look.
Oh yeah, I can see why they would think that was, he led with the elbow.
The foul was called on Arrington. Video review continues.
That's interesting.
Maldonado, as we said, number 0 there, like Braden Hubbard, has emerged here.
Watch his right elbow. No, it's left elbow.
Yeah.
Legally, you're not supposed to lead with an elbow.
So that's Antonio Petty and Chris Pacey with the official review. Brett Tanner was noting that it was this time last year that his team went on a 7-game win streak. Remember last year in the WAC, 11 teams, only 8 made the tournament. Abilene Christian was sitting in last place, in danger of missing WAC Vegas. They win 7 in a row. He said last year we shut everything down. We closed things down. We slowed the game down. Went on a 7-game win streak. He said this year, I'm telling them, let it rip. Play defense, get stops, but then go. Up-tempo, attack. He doesn't think, this is Brett Tanner's respect for this guy, Chris Victor. He doesn't want to make this a half-court game.
Oh, no.
Against Victor's defense.
No, you play right into their hands if you do that right there. Now,
and already 4 fast break points for AC.
Well, and it's all about the transition. These guys are used to that now. It's turned into a high-level intramural game. Controlled chaos.
And Brett Tanner, as you know, he is a defensive specialist. It's in his blood. He said, this is not my nature to turn them loose.
Yeah, it's killing
but
him.
I told him, you get stops and you can go.
But let me tell you about coaching. You have to grow too. You have to adapt to what you've been given or what you recruit. Let's watch his left elbow.
Yeah.
There's a double.
So you can't take the foul away from Maldonado, but you could call a flagrant on Bettiol.
Interesting.
That's Jeff Malum now, who's joined the review and now the conference. Every official wants me to say their name at the beginning of the game and not say their name the rest of the night. They don't want to be in the middle of it, but this is why you have video review.
They have a lot of nicknames, though, Grant.
And they're called a lot of names.
Yeah, that's what
not at Abilene Christian, mind you, or Seattle, an outstanding Jesuit school. All right. Are they going to go one more time in the video review?
Oh, he's on a microphone. What do we have?
Let's see if we can get. Cylinder foul.
Okay.
Cylinder foul, yeah. So in other words, you got to give the offensive player his space as Naz DeGrew checks in, lobs it deep for Keon Williams. They have 20 on the shot clock. Montrez Williams opens for three, doesn't take it.
You're going to see a lot of that tonight. There's going to be that three. They're going to guard the line.
Keon Williams has made a three already. Can't get that one to fall. And Kobe Williamson brings down the rebound. It's a 9-0 run for ACU. They've stretched it to double digits. Moncrief back in the game and a lob for for Williamson. Oh, it's knocked out of the hands by DeGrew, but they're going to get him for a reach-in foul, and Moncrief to the free throw line to shoot two.
You know, they're trying to. ACU's trying to speed the game up. You don't want to run the pace that they're running at right now. That possession is exactly what Seattle does to you. And watch how they spread the floor. It's a 5-out motion game.
Native of Toronto.
The 51st state.
Are we going to go there?
No.
Oh, boy.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
There's a tariff on his free throw shooting, I think. He's tonight just coming in 62% on the season. But leads the conference in double-doubles. Brett Tanner said this about Keon Williams, his high major transfer. Same thing that Chris Victor said about MA, as they call him, Matthew Alexander Moncrief. Just the absolute quintessential team guy. And for a high major, you just never know. DeGrew tried to take it all the way. And here comes Maldonado with a fancy move and land one. And Madden lands hard, and he is in pain. We'll swab the deck and then look out below. Yeah, he kind of clipped Madden inadvertently. Madden is going to have to exit. Maldonado, the newcomer and player of the week both. He went for 26 points in that buzzer-beating win against UT Arlington. Made 7 threes. And makes the old-fashioned three there.
Now, if DeGrew gets that layup again, he's going to have to go much, much stronger than what he did that last time.
So 4 straight points.
See, look at that right there. Take that shot and bury that shot. They're going to give it to you.
So 9 in a row for ACU, now 4 in a row for the Redhawks. Moncrief finds Williamson. High IQ player.
See, look at that spacing. There's no one in the paint.
8 seconds on the shot clock, and Hubbard got a reach-in foul on Moncrief. 5th turnover in the first half. Already halfway toward their conference average of 10. Abilene Christian up 6. Media timeout. Now this is what Brett Tanner wanted, a student section at the end of the floor where the visiting bench is. And, they are fired up, cheering on the Wildcats, who got a 6-point lead and the ball. And with 7:43 to go in the first half, Abilene Christian will be in the bonus for the rest of the first 20 minutes. Rich Smith back at the game at the point. Clayton Hubbard's been aggressive, and again to the basket, finds Rivera. Rolled his ankle against Utah Tech last Thursday night. Is better now. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Williams working the short corner. Finds Smith, and a little floater. Finds a home.
They're really, ACU's really doing a nice job of taking them off the dribble and finding the gaps and getting in there. Really nice passes. Now here we go with this 5-out motion.
Bullet pass into the corner from Maldonado, no. And Keon Williams the rebound. Finds Smith, reverses his course, good defense. Hubbard tries a long one, and a little too strong. And ACU now 3 of 8 from three-point range. But again, that's that let it go mentality that worked last week. It's a tie-up and a takeaway. Rivera ahead to Smith. It's a 2-on-1. A lob.
Transition. That's the name of the game for the Wildcats right now, for 4th and 5th game in a row.
Back to a 10-point advantage. And again, Seattle struggling to hang on to the ball. Don't say that very often. Touch pass to Maldonado. It's up in the air. Williams a really good ball movement. And Stevens can't get that one to go. And Abilene Christian can have its largest lead of the game if they get a bucket here.
Good reversal, good ball movement. There he is.
Bettiol into the corner. Rivera, good three-point shooter. No. Loose ball, Williamson. 5th-year senior. Chris Victor said it's going to be an emotional senior night when we say goodbye to the big fella.
Played on the AAU team with Hunter Jack.
Moncrief, all the moves, but can't finish. Good defense by Bettiol. Hubbard in transition. Finds a cutting Smith. No. Oh, and a late whistle. Chris Victor can't believe it. One more look here, 2-on-1 break. Smith to Williams. Like Ron Holmes from Van Horn.
The passer, though, not the dunker.
Could you dunk in high school back then? Did they let you dunk it?
Yeah.
I mean, there was against the rules in college basketball for a time. You couldn't dunk it. It was goaltending. It was before your time. Whippersnapper. But you said this before the game started. ACU's got to be aggressive. It's a really good defensive Seattle team. Brett Tanner, Chris Victor matching wits, and ACU has been aggressive.
Exactly. You can't take the bait. They're going to walk the ball up the floor. They're going to want you to be patient and execute against them. ACU's getting out. It's been one and done on a lot of shots.
Smith is not a good free throw shooter statistically. He's hit some big ones as Bettiol steps out. Brett Tanner likes what he sees so far. Smith right about 60% at the free throw line.
These guys remind me a lot of Tarleton. They're not near as physical as Tarleton, but the pace and the way they run and execute is Tarleton.
And again, Brett Tanner said almost with some envy in his voice, they defend so well without fouling most of the time. Now tonight they fouled 7 times, but he loves the way Chris Victor coaches defense. It's the largest lead of the game for ACU, a dozen. And another takeaway and another run out for ACU. Keon Williams, 1-on-2 to the hoop. And before
on the floor,
he could get there, Keon wants the basket to count. Jeff Mallon said, no, you're going to have to earn 2 at the line.
Nice.
8 turnovers for Seattle.
Yeah, they're if we could, we're showing instant replay one of these days, but they're blowing up screens. The Wildcats are blowing up screens. They're going over the top. Three ways to handle a screen is go under it. If you do, they shoot over the top of you. Go over the top and knock them out of that shot, or just blow one up, just have a collision.
This is a 1-and-1. 8th foul of the half against the Red Hawks. Keon Williams, no. And so instead of an and one, it's an and none. And the turnover is negated by the missed free throw. This is Paris Dawson, the senior from Southern California. Too strong. Rebound to Malik Goma, who's just checked in. Christopoulos working on DeGrew. 10 on the new shot clock.
They have no post game.
Step back three. Boy, it hit the backboard, and that was it. And Hubbard, a tough rebound off of Karam.
It's a bad possession if I'm Coach Victor. I'm not going to be real happy about that.
Horniker can make a three. Wins the basket there. Alston is undercut. Now, what do we have?
A foul.
It's a foul, but on who?
Seattle.
Antonio Petty is going to get, I think, Deshaun Stevens. Watch the battle with Alston. I think maybe they said he undercuts Alston trying to get the rebound. That's going to put Christian Alston, the freshman, at the free throw line. ACU's 5 of 6 at the stripe. And again, they're about to get their 7th free throw of the first 16 minutes.
Yeah.
They had 7 the entire game when they played in Seattle.
But if you look at the video when the Wildcats played in Seattle, they're a busy team tonight. They weren't near as busy. They took the bait up there. Thus the 66-64 score.
Brett Tanner, look, he's just another night at Moody. He's relaxing.
He needs a towel.
Chris Victor's a bit concerned. They've won 3 games in a row. It's been a season of runs. They won 3 in a row, lost 3 in a row, won 2 in a row. They're on that 2-game win streak now. ACU won both games last week as well. And the Wildcats continue to add to their largest lead of the night. Victor Rankovic is checked in. Here's number 21 setting the screen.
They go over the top of the screen and blow it up.
Christopoulos fall away. No, and Horniker boxing it. Not a lot of second chance opportunities for the Redhawks. Williams in transition to Hubbard. Onto the basket for Horniker. Knocked away. Picked up by Hubbard. Blocked. Off of Hubbard. Great defense on the interior by Seattle. But ACU off and running. Up big. Now that student section loves what they see. They haven't had many chances to cheer on the Wildcats. ACU is going to have 5 of its last 7 games in conference here at Moody Coliseum. No one's had even close to the kind of travel schedule that ACU's had. They had 5 trips out west in the first 5 weeks of conference play. The good news is for ACU, they don't have to leave Texas again until the tournament.
Well, in basketball, travel is critical. You try to piggyback games in basketball. ACU flew to Seattle, flew home.
Correct.
Flew to Utah, flew home.
Correct.
Flew
to Phoenix, and they had to turn around and play here Saturday.
Yeah, and then turn around and you get 24-hour turnaround or 48-hour turnaround. That's critical. And you wear even the 20-year-old gets worn out doing that.
Well, Chris Victor was talking about what he said is the real challenge of traveling in the WAC, and they at least this week get to play ACU here tonight and then go about an hour and a half away to Stephenville, Texas to play Tarleton State, who's hosting Grand Canyon tonight. That game will be on Saturday. Zone look for ACU defensively. And a kick ball, they'll reset it off the tootsies of Dontrez Williams. Chris Victor, a terrific player for Concordia. Irvine.
Yeah. One of the things that you might be wondering is why has ACU gone to the zone? It's because when you come out of the timeout, they've drawn up a play to go against your man in Seattle. It's really prolific in scoring after timeouts.
This is Rankovic under the basket, and Goma with the finish with the left hand. Seattle kid, being from a high school, Malik Goma. This is DeGrew. And Horniker loses it, hits it back and finds Keon Williams with a jump stop, kick out to Dontrez Williams. A lot of contact, floater good from Dontrez, so each of the freshmen has contributed tonight.
You know, if I'm Coach Victor, I'm going to have a talk with my team about their getting into the paint, getting in too deep, and those are little baby hooks, little baby shots.
Rankovic finds Dawson. And again, one and done are the Redhawks.
Early in the shot clock too, Grant.
When these teams met in January, ACU scored 40 in the first half. But Seattle shut them down in the second. Dontrez Williams too strong. Hubbard is going to get called for over the back. And that is the 6th team foul against ACU. a look here. Yeah, that's Dontrez Williams. Brett Tanner said that Dontrez Williams, like a lot of freshmen, he thinks kind of hit a wall about a week ago and didn't have his best practices of the year. But when Yanni Rivera, number 2, rolled his ankle against Utah Tech, Dontrez was pressed into service and really responded.
Well, and I think that's good coaching. If you can make your kids hit a wall, you've gotten them to the edge. Now you run up behind them and push them over the edge because they've never experienced that in their life. When they graduate from ACU, when they graduate from Seattle, when they're out there on their own, they're going to get to the edge on their own and they'll remember this.
Yeah, and for a freshman, they played more games than he's ever played. Bit of a challenge. Around the WAC tonight, UT Arlington has beaten Cal Baptist. That's a final now. Even in overtime, so UTA rebounds from the buzzer-beating loss to these Red Hawks. Grand Canyon up double digits at Tarleton State. And you got that other game tonight, Utah Tech at Southern Utah. Oh, nearly a turnover by Arrington. Moncrief back in the game, looking to go to work, poked away by the freshman. 7 seconds on the shot clock, and they're going to get a foul on Dontrez Williams. It's going to put Moncrief at the line for a 1-and-1.
Moncrief is going to the basket. He's going to put the ball on the floor. He's going to back you down. He's going to get on the free throw line. He averages, what, it's almost 8 free throws a game.
In conference play, it's a little less than that, but he's a tough guard.
Oh, well,
tough to defend.
Oh, he's very tough. 6'8". If you're going to switch 1 through 5, he's going to catch you.
Playing at an all-conference caliber level, but he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Madden back in the game, took a big spill earlier under the basket defensively. But ACU can get their largest lead of the night. Keon Williams cut off and poked away. Williams retains possession. And now with a crossover, loses it. Scooped up by Hubbard. Just chaos on the offensive end. Still a chance for ACU, and Bettiol can't get it to go. That was not one for the year-end video. Moncrief double team. Dan back in the game in the low post. And the 3 won't go. Rebound chased down by Dawson. Tanner didn't like that offensive rebound get. The Red Hawks. Christophilus off the screen. No. And really nothing falling much of late. They're shooting less than 35%. That's Hubbard off the feed from Smith.
I think that's the way he played in the Bronx.
And a timeout taken by Seattle. The use it or lose it timeout as ACU has its largest lead of the night. Rich Smith creating, finishing. Here he gets up in the air, and Hubbard was right there to finish. Hubbard's got 9 points, and Smith 8 points, couple of boards, and a couple of assists.
You know, Rich Smith is really good at rule 101 in basketball. When you're leading a break, and he was leading a break. It was a 2-on. You go as deep as the defense will let you go before you give up the ball, which means you've got a shot at a dink shot, a layup, or you can pass the ball off. And with the way they're not calling charges this year, your chances of scoring are greatly enhanced.
AC shooting 60%, beg your pardon, 50% from the floor. They cooled off from long range. But they have clamped down on Seattle, which is now shooting 8 of 24, and the Red Hawks are 1 of 9 from three-point range.
Well, they're out of sorts. They don't have a rhythm. And ACU's in the zone. No, they're going to go man.
They've missed 9 of their last 10. Moncrief. That's his specialty. Gave up the 3, which is not really his game. That is.
Strong player, though.
40 seconds to play. High post Bettiol's been kind of quiet tonight. Somehow gets that one to drop, making a little noise, the second bucket.
Wow.
And that might have been a Euro step and a half. And again, Williams just will not let Arrington get any depth. So you've got the 3 guard guarding the point guard.
Yeah, well,
that's what Williams can do.
Yeah, they're switching 1 through 5.
About a second and a half differential shot clock and game clock. Arrington, beautiful bounce to Moncrief, who finishes and one. He goes with the offhand and spins it off the window beautifully.
Yeah, they were looking for some kind of fantastic play. This may get him going up and under. That's a G League move right there.
Moncrief didn't just make the roster at Oklahoma State and Georgia. He was a starter, a contributor in the Big 12 and the SEC. Brett Tanner and Chris Victor matching wits. 3-3 the 6 games they played. Moncrief gets a chance here to finish off the and one. He's got 14 points. And another miss at the line. A chance for a buzzer beater for ACU. Williams rises up to beat the buzzer. No. Off balance. But still, for Abilene Christian, after not trailing all week in a pair of wins in Utah, a dominant first half. They scored 40 against Seattle in the first half when they met out in the Pacific Northwest. They get 40 again tonight. Now the challenge for Brett Tanner is to finish it in the second half, and Brett is with Zion Webb.
Coach, up 14 at the half. What have you seen?
Well, I mean, I thought our defensive intensity was really good early. We were not good down in the last 4 minutes of that half, though. This team, we had a double-digit lead at their place. They came back and beat us in a one-possession game. So we can't relax, and these guys got to understand that. We got to keep our defensive intensity up all 20 minutes of the second half.
And then Moncrief has 14. What have you seen? How do you stop him?
Dude, he's a monster. I don't know if you can stop him. You know, we just got to do a better job of walling up and making him work for everything.
All right, thank you, Coach. Guys, back to you.
Zion, thank you. Well, back home with the remainder of conference play. 5 at Moody, 2 just down the road, and ACU up big at the half.
Inside Moody Coliseum, we're watching Abilene Christian Wildcats take on the Red Hawks of Seattle U. I'm Joshua Varner alongside Roman Fele. Roman, what did you see in that first half?
Well, super defensive first half. For both teams, it's a matter of scoring effort. I mean, the Wildcats with 8 scores in that first half, but not Hunter Jack Madden and Leo Bettiol. They're really low scoring in this game, but Rich Smith, Braden Hubbard really stepped up and made an impact in this game. And for Seattle U, Maldonado coming off of a huge performance last week and gaining WAC newcomer and player of the week. He has 3 points at half. Seattle struggled to do much of anything, and especially turning the ball over.
Yeah, and what you're saying with turnovers, ACU is 4th in the NCAA right now in forced turnovers each game. Really a key part of this game. Here we see some of our stats for today. Yeah, as you were saying, Moncrief really leading the Seattle U team.
Right, and Braden Maldonado, 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting. They've got to get the ball in his hands. And Moncrief just been torching this Wildcat team, especially inside. Actually played at Oklahoma State with Keon Williams, who now plays for the Wildcats. Former teammates there having some competitive battles down low. But Rich Smith been the hero for ACU in this first half. 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting, and he's the facilitator. You don't expect your point guard to come out and almost lead your team in a half in scoring. His goal is to get assists, get the offense going, but he's doing both really well in that first half.
Yeah, both of those guys doing good on offense, but on the defensive side, we're seeing Seattle with an uncharacteristic amount of fouls so far tonight. What have you been seeing through that?
Yeah, when these teams first played in Seattle a couple weeks ago, the Red Hawks shot 29 field goals, the Wildcats shot 7. It's completely flipped here tonight. Wildcats already over that 7 mark. They've been really defensive and aggressive defensively in ways that we haven't really seen either of these teams be. Wildcats, you tend to foul a lot when they're playing rough defense, but they've done a good job tonight not letting them get to the free throw line too often. Could still clean things up a little bit, but like you said, Seattle been very foul consistent in this first half, and it's led to the deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now we're seeing some replays right here. You see ACU's been shooting pretty well so far today, just over 52%, really attacking that goal and forcing those fouls. What are you seeing what do you think the ACU needs to be doing during that second half on terms of offense?
They just need to continue to share the ball. They need to get Leonardo Bettiol going. I mean, this is one of the premier centers in the WAC. If you're not going to get him to score and not get him involved in your offense, you're not going to be as successful as when you do. And we saw Hunter Jack Madden take that pretty nasty fall. He came back into the game, but if he's healthy and good to go, he needs to be touching the ball more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Seattle so far this season, they have not had a road win since their game on December 23rd Coming in after this half, 14 points down, what do they really need to do to get their mentality ready and get back this momentum this game?
I mean, they need to continue to lean on Moncrief, but they got to get Maldonado going. I mean, he's the WAC player of the week last week. You have to let him score more than 3 points in a half. That just can't happen. So they got to get the ball in his hands, and they got to clean it up defensively. You can't foul this ACU team that much.
All right, yeah, we're going to take a look just a little bit around the WAC here. Utah Valley has taken over the lead of the WAC. They started the conference play this season with 7 consistent winning games. They're currently 9-1 in the WAC.
Yeah, and like I just said a couple seconds ago, Red Hot Maldonado wins the WAC Player of the Week. He had 26 points last week, and he's got 3 at halftime here. The Wildcats have done a great job stepping up to the plate and playing great defense on him because he is a game changer for Seattle U.
Yeah, and taking a look as well, a lot of nationally ranked teams for the WAC as well. Tarleton State, they're with 4 turnovers per game. ACU in 4th in that category. UVU with 4th in blocks per game. A lot of really good, powerful teams here in the WAC. Anything else you've got before the second half?
I mean, yeah, it's an exciting second half here. Going to be won and lost inside the paint. The Wildcats with 20 points in the paint out of their 40 in that first half. They want to own it, but Seattle needs to battle back somehow, and they got to get Maldonado going.
All right, well, thank you, Roman. All right, that'll do it for us here at the top of Moody Coliseum. It's 40-26 Wildcats. We'll see you guys here right after the break.
This is where ACU leads Seattle 40-26. Seattle coach Chris Victor is with Zion Webb. Oh, here we are.
Hello.
Real quickly, Coach, a quick thought about the first half. You said ACU needed to be aggressive, and they have been.
Well, and they're going to have to carry that on. It's human nature to back off a little bit when you've got somebody by the throat and you've had a good first half. Tanner's going to have to really ride them hard. And you can't push your rope, but you can drag it across the line.
And again, if you're Chris Victor, you say, hey, they scored 40 against us last month at home, and we stopped them. We came back and we beat them. But it was a 2-point lead for ACU that night in Seattle. It's a 14-point lead here.
Yeah, I'm telling my guys at Seattle, you're up to this. You were built to do this. And you hit your shots, hit your stride, get into our pace, and we're going to be just fine.
All right, well, we'll see. Take a look at some of the first half stats. ACU shooting above 50%. Coach Tanner never satisfied. He said the last 4 minutes, not good enough. He's never quite satisfied. The turnovers, huge. ACU has struggled turning the ball over this year, or turned it over second most in the league. They've also forced the most, but tonight it's a +5 turnover margin as the second half begins. And Seattle gets first crack here after the break. And this is Malik Arrington. The Idaho State transfer, Deshaun Stevens back to Arrington. And an entry pass poked away, and the second half begins like the first half was, with Seattle turning it over uncharacteristically. ACU's led by as many as 16. Under the basket, Smith. Hubbard for 3. Yes!
Wow, that's the way to start the half for ACU.
Smith was open for a mid-range jumper, but he opted to find Hubbard.
Now watch this pace right here, Grant. They're going to try to work the ball, and they're going to blow up those screens right there. That's why you do what you do there.
Hubbard to Smith with the left hand. 5 quick ones for Abilene Christian. And Smith is feeling it. Native of the Bronx here in West Texas. And again, the turnovers, just staggering. And a foul out there on the perimeter. We'll look here. Hubbard, that was not an easy pass.
You know, the players these days, they don't know whether to pass it to you or pass it up around the rim so they can go get it, dunk it like we did in Van Horn, as you talked about.
Maldonado can't get it to go, and a one-hand rip rebound for Smith. Madden has it poked away, but ACU will retain possession. One more look here. Good job.
Good job. If you're Tanner, you're going to play in 4-minute intervals. You have to win each 4-minute interval.
Are you trying to tell your team, as Williams can't finish, you come out if you're Brett Tanner thinking it's 0-0?
Oh, yeah.
You want that mentality?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what you've got to say if you're Seattle.
Into the corner and stepping on the sideline. Turnover number 10 for Seattle. And Chris Victor has seen enough in the first 90
That's
seconds.
a really good timeout. I would have burned a timeout.
Hands on hips, trying to come up with an answer. ACU up by its largest margin, 19. Temperatures never got even to 40 today in Abilene, Texas, and it's been red hot in here for the home team. Leading it by 19. Rich Smith has been active on both ends of the floor. Hunter Jack Madden leaves it for Smith. And the big fella, Kobe Williamson. Williams gets hammered as he rises up. Smith willing to just continue to attack the paint, and they're rewarded with free throws.
I thought there were one too many dribbles, but then when he penetrated like he did, and then he caught Keon coming down the lane. That's a good look.
ACU 7 of 8 at the free throw line. Keon gets 2 here. Good, not great free throw shooter. He's been much better in conference play than in November and December. Huran Dan from China checks in for the Aussie. Kobe Williamson. 20-point lead. Make it 21. And Keon Williams now with 9 to go with 4 points and a couple of assists. It's been the defense, though, that set the tone tonight for ACU. Taking the ball away from Seattle. And not giving them great looks. Azia Panja denied.
That's just good defense. Seattle's breaking them down one-on-one, trying to take them off the dribble. And I've seen that work against ACU, but you've got to be a lot more active. You have to have more threats.
Moncrief with 5 on the shot clock. Time running out, cross court, Christopoulos to beat the buzzer. No, rebound Williams looking to run. Bounces ahead to Rich Smith. Stripped by Panja, I believe, and ECU will have it. So Smith inbounds to Hubbard. To the basket goes Hubbard, loses it. And good hands by the Redhawks. Christopoulos in transition may have gotten away with an extra step. Dan can't get it to go, and Betio finishes with a rebound.
It's been one of those nights for Seattle.
They're 0 for 4 in the second half shooting. Betio to the bucket, kicks it out to Keon Williams for 3. Panja cut off, and a reach-in foul on Rich Smith. That's his second. No one for AC with more than 2 personals. Well, it was a 14-point lead at the break, and ACU's extended it now to 21.
Well, it's just being aggressive. And that's an umbrella for an awful lot of adjectives. Because there's a lot of nuances in being aggressive that you just don't see.
Dawson running out of time, and it's intercepted by Madden. Can't get it to go, but he's fouled by Panja. And Madden to the line to shoot 2. Another turnover for Seattle.
If you can do this right here, if you can get runouts, and you don't have to have possessions where you have to pass the ball 4 or 5 times, 99% of the time you're going to win the game.
Well, Seattle had 17 turnovers when ACU beat them here in Moody Coliseum last year. Their season high for turnovers, 17 against the former ACU head coach Joe Golding and UTEP. And tonight, they've got 10.
Joe who?
Yeah, they know. That guy knows.
Yeah, he knows.
Joe Golding and Brett Tanner.
Yeah, I know him too.
Yeah, they built this program.
Didn't they, though?
It's hard to overstate just where ACU came from. And Chris Victor has done an incredible job at Seattle, and they're, of course, headed to the West Coast Conference this summer. leading the WAC. Makes so much sense to play up in that region as Dawson attacks and is rewarded.
Now, you'll notice on that possession right there were no screens. They didn't have to blow up anything. He just took him off the dribble and off he went.
DeGrew can't get it to go, but Dontrez Williams chases down the rebound. Another chance here for the Wildcats. Madden tries a three. Knew he was going to miss it. And now trying to tie up Christopoulos. We're going to get Madden for the personal foul.
You know, I think if Seattle mounts a comeback, it's going to have to be on the shoulders of Christopoulos, because we all know what, who am I talking about, Moncrief?
But we talked about the comparisons with Christopoulos and Madden. Both are better than their numbers say this year. And both have had big moments already this season, including just last Saturday night. Jack Sawyer in the game. The freshman from Aledo, Texas, Metroplex. Hanja working on Sawyer. To the basket he goes, and a reach-in foul on ACU. And already, ACU is at 4 personal fouls. Sub T16, one of the fraternities here at ACU, and Sawyer is one of them. So is Joe Golding, the former ACU head coach. All right, Seattle tries to claw its way back. Redhawks down 20. Good guy to start with. Hanja touch pass. Dawson to the hoop. No. Bettiol with a one-hand rebound. And Leo with his 6th board. DeGrew, a lot of contact. Blocking foul on Hanja, and immediate timeout. ACU has extended its 14-point halftime lead. Trying to win a 3rd straight game. Up 20. Coach, just 2 weeks ago, Wildcats coming off a heartbreaking overtime loss to UT Arlington, go out to Riverside, California. Just got their doors blown off by CBU. Never led in the game, lost down 17 at halftime. And here, since then, well, they didn't trail at all last week in 2 wins on the road, Utah Tech and Southern Utah. Tonight, a dominant performance against a very good Seattle team.
That man right there you see on your screen has grown up. He's turned them loose. He's let them get in transition. Now, first semester, he didn't let them do that.
And as we mentioned earlier, it's not his nature. He's defense first, middle, last. That's the way Brett Tanner operates. But he told them, I'll let you go if you'll get stops, if you'll turn them over. Now Chris Victor, who talked about the travel in this WAC and how hard it is. They got here Tuesday night for the week in Texas. They'll play Tarleton State on Saturday. And another zone look, forcing a cross-court pass that's too tall for Christopoulos, and the 11th turnover of the game.
I would have to say they need a little more motion. That's why we talked about in the first half. You got to be a lot busier, or you do have games like this.
You got DeGrew and Dontrez Williams. Bettiol catches in the short corner. Relatively quiet, finds DeGrew under the basket. And the New Orleans native, and a reach-in foul on Williamson with less than 5 seconds on the timer.
Yeah, he bailed ACU out. They had something, or they didn't have anything going on.
That was going to be a Dontrez Williams desperation three, most likely. Horniker, the 7-footer, comes in for Bettiol. Quiet offensively for Bettiol, but leading the team with 6 rebounds.
Well, Roman alluded to that at the first half. They're going to have to get the ball to him, but he's covered up.
I think Bettiol will be just fine if ACU hangs on to this lead. And another foul on Seattle.
Well, that's part of it. If you're going to be a great team, you know, Hunter Jack went south 3 or 4 games. They still managed to do okay and win.
This is Dontrez Williams, no relation to Keon, his teammate. 10 seconds on the shot clock. DeGrew is open for 3. Can't get it to go. Hubbard got his hands on it. And a foul on ACU. Each team with 5 team fouls.
Okay, now this is a dangerous time of the game because neither team has a pace. If we're going to slow it down to where neither team has a pace, Seattle's a lot more comfortable at doing that right now. So Tanner's over there nervous.
Isn't he always? I mean, with the three-point shot, the 30-second shot clock, no game ever feels out of reach. And it was about this time of the game where Seattle made their run. They went on a 15-0 run in Seattle, and Moncrief hopes to have started something here for the Red Hawks.
Baseline screen right there. They didn't blow that one up.
Moncrief, the bright spot. More than half of Seattle's 30 points. He's got 16. Hubbard underneath to Horniker. Can't finish, gets his own miss and blocked, and the Red Hawks come out of there with it.
This guy right here with the ball, he's giving it up. Christopoulos, he's going to have to take charge.
Red Hawks just 1 of 11 from 3. They might need a few of those to fall. A foul on Horniker. And Paris Dawson to the free throw line. 2.
I'm not going to editorialize, but I don't understand. You foul on the way to the basket, and you stand still, and they find a foul. I didn't see a foul on that. It probably was. Mallon's a really good official.
Chris Victor, his mentor is Rick Croy, the head coach at CDU. They were both at Citrus College. Brett Tanner, part of that Chris Beard coaching family. He was an assistant at Fort Scott Community College to the now Ole Miss head coach. Chris Beard was a graduate assistant here at Abilene Christian, late 90s when Joe Golding was a point guard. Golding came back to be the head coach, and he and Brett Tanner took ACU to the NCAA tournament twice, including that big win over Texas in 2021. All right, so piggyback trips, your favorite. That's what Seattle's done. Now they're looking for another stop.
Now you look for Leo.
Hubbard doesn't take the 3. Williams with a jump stop, throws it away, and ACU just their 4th turnover of the game, and Seattle clamping down defensively.
Yeah, and that's not a good possession for ACU, not the way the game's gone tonight. They're a transition team shooting, a 30-second shot clock. They're shooting at 10, 15 seconds.
Arrington back in the game to run the point. Christopoulos closed out on by Rivera. Smith pokes it away. The 12th turnover. Williams with a jump stop. No, but he's fouled and will go to the line for 2.
Now that's the pace if you're ACU. The last 2 or 3 minutes has been Seattle's pace.
When Seattle made their 15-0 run last month to rally to beat ACU, they quit the turnovers.
Yeah.
And that led to their comeback. Tonight, ACU has really drawn so much of its offense from turning Seattle over.
Well, now, I don't
Points
remember.
Off turnovers, Coach, 15-2 in favor of ACU.
That's a huge deal, but I don't recall, but did Seattle shoot the ball very well at home that night? Because they do shoot 40-something% from the 3. Well, they're not shooting the ball well at all tonight.
They're just 2 of 7 in the second half here, 36% for the game. That night they were 42%, but Coach, they went to the free throw line 29 times, mitigating that below average percentage. Moncrief trying to make something happen, gets the screen from Goma, and Goma, surprise, 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 Goma gets it to go. And a little bit of offensive rhythm for the Red Hawks now.
Again, this is when you find Leo. There you go.
Well, they found him, but then Seattle took it away, and now a couple of turnovers in a row for 2 out of 3. Open Panja for 3. That would have been big. And Bettiol, I'm not sure he'll get credit for a rebound, but he deserves it as he taps it to Smith. Smith to the basket, has it knocked out of his hands out of bounds with 12:19 to play.
That's the kind of transition right there I was talking about. That was a foul, and they just don't do that anymore.
The reach in, you mean?
Yeah, the reach in. Well, I mean, he did more than reach, but there's a
Mashai
contact
Hill.
there.
Sorry, Mashai Hill checks in. Big man, sophomore. Madden lobs in for Keon. Spin move, knocked out of his hands. Smith controls it, back to Williams. Little floater, no. Tipped up Keon, gets it again and in.
It's an athlete.
Third time was a charm.
That's a 4-star athlete right there with a 5 on his jersey.
13 points. He nearly got a double-double on that possession, just getting his own misses. Media timeout coming to the next whistle. Man-to-man defensively for ACU, and they hedge, and Hill just clobbers Arrington. ACU leading it by 19 as they try to climb the ranks in the Western Athletic Conference.
If they could come back to that.
Back in Abilene, Texas, Coach, you talked all night about blowing up screens. Take us through this sequence.
All right, now watch Mashai, boom, right there. He should have stepped up the floor instead. He stepped to the side. But that's coaching. You're blowing up a screen. That you can go behind the screen, over the top of the screen, or blow it up. ACU's option to blow up screen, but don't foul every time.
This is a 1-and-1 for Malik Arrington. They're just 7 of 13 at the free throw line, and a fight for the rebound, and they're going to get Hill again, I think, and Brett Tanner not happy.
Yeah, Tanner's looking for chinks in their armor right now. He's looking for something to. He's like an extra bouncer in a nightclub. He's trying to start a fight to save his job.
Another 1-and-1 chance, and Goma gets the first to go.
That's a good looking post player.
Second season, a Seattle kid. And again, the Redhawks headed to the West Coast Conference next season. A little bit of full court pressure. Maldonado, reigning newcomer / player of the week. Went for 18 a week ago and 26 Saturday night. Alston has his pass taken away. And here's Deshaun Stevens to the basket, blocked by Smith, and Hill comes out of there with it for ACU. Nothing there for Alston, or so we thought, and a foul call against Seattle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Christian Alston. He's ready for his close-up. And again, Coach, he was showing a lot of promise.
Yeah.
First month of the season, then the flu hit him. The flu just racked. It seemed like every team in college basketball, and Christian lost 20 pounds. He didn't have it to lose. But he's a talented-looking kid.
But again, the aggressiveness that we talked about all night, he went all the way to the hole. It was 1 against 2. He went all the way to the hole. Yeah, you have to do that.
This is a Seattle team that has been to the line 100 times more than their opponents this year. But ACU tonight has outshot them at the free throw line, both in terms of attempts and percentage. Yeah. Alston goes 2 of 2. They're 15 of 18 at the line.
Tonight?
Tonight, ACU is tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And a hard bucket finished off by Malik Arrington. First points of the night for the point guard.
Yeah, Seattle's extended their defense now. They're going to run 94 feet with ACU.
Madden, quiet offensively after a great week last week. Hubbard finds a cutting Smith, now to Bettiol, the extra pass.
That's good coaching. Well, that was post-to-post, penetration, scores every time.
Smith could have taken it, gave it up for Bettiol instead. And just when Seattle makes a little headway, ACU cuts them off at the pass. Dawson working hard on Williams. Shuffles it to Maldonado, working the baseline. Rajkovic for 3. No. Rebound Hubbard, who's working on a 12-4 night. Madden to the hoop. Cut off, and he'll reset.
Well, they look sharp.
A lot of contact, no whistle. Under the basket, through the wickets, or through the fingertips of Bettiol, and ACU beginning to turn it over more here in the second half. Dawson fouled in transition. ACU had just 2 turnovers at halftime, 5 already in the first half of the second 20 minutes. And Dawson was patient. He'll go to the line for 2.
But if you're going to extend your defense like Seattle has, and you're going to force ACU to go to transition, you're going to foul a little bit more. That's what was incredible about only 2 fouls in the first half. But, you know, if you're shooting a really high percentage, there's no scrum.
Tonight, ACU shot better than 50% in the first half. 15 of 29. Second half, shots haven't fallen, but they've gotten to the line quite a bit. And Seattle not shooting at a high percentage either. Both teams just 4 of 12 shooting in the second half. Dawson misses both, and a foul the other way. And Goma is going to be the guilty party. It's going to send ACU to the free throw line on the other end for a 1-and-1 of their own.
Well, you know, if you hit your free throws, you're going to win about 90% of your games, and ACU's done a really nice job of that. Now, that was a problem for them early in the year.
Yes, it was. It cost them a couple of games.
Yes, it did.
Late misses. Keon Williams said, I think it's me. Isn't it me? No.
That was good officiating right there, because there was a time when coaches would sneak another player on the line.
Bettiol's free throws percentage has dropped off here in the conference play. He was in the mid-70s down into the low 60s in conference. Maldonado red hot last week, not tonight in chilly West Texas. DeGrew the rebound, and ACU can push it to 20+ with a bucket here. Underneath to Bettiol, tries the reverse. No. And bucket's just tough to come by for both teams in the second half. Moncrief finds Goma, foul by Bettiol, and for Leo, that's his 3rd.
That's a good foul.
We said it in the opening. It's a box of chocolates in this league. You just don't know. And when ACU tail between its legs, in Brett Tanner's estimation, leaving CBU 2 Thursday nights ago, they were 1-6. Goma.
You know, there comes a time.
But since then, dominant.
Well, and you have to put that game behind you. It doesn't get any lower than that if you're ACU.
Yeah, whether you lose by 1 or 20, it's the same.
Yeah.
It was an ugly loss, but tonight's been pretty.
Well, 1 as good as 50 the next day.
Free throw shooting just execrable for Seattle tonight. A cutting Dontrez Williams. That's an offensive foul on Dontrez. Brett Tanner says, wait a minute, we're calling charges still? He and Joe Golding built this program on taking charges, and that would have been a charge 9 out of 10 times 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't see it very often these days.
The further you are from the basket, the easier it is on the referee to make that call. It has to do with your plant foot when you get into the paint. And I don't know how a referee can watch on top and a plant foot at the same time.
This game has slowed down a bit, and it's not been a work of art. This has been, watching Moncrief, can't get it to go. Stick back by Williamson, no. Out of bounds off of ACU, they say, so another chance for the Red Hawks.
Yeah, the pace is there. It's a Seattle pace right now, and they're getting 2 and 3 shots at the basket.
Here's a 3 from Maldonado, no. 7 of 10 from 3 Saturday night, but tonight 0 for 5 from long range. Now guarding his opposite number, DeGrew, knifes through traffic, hangs in the air for the left-hand finish.
What a move, fantastic move. He glides.
Won a state title at St. Augustine. And he picks the pocket of the Aussie Williamson. DeGrew the other way. Naz DeGrew. Fancy.
Wow. That was fantastic.
And ACU has its largest lead of the night, 23.
And strangely enough, Grant, as much as we've watched ACU play and I've watched Seattle play, ACU is that good right now in February.
If you'd have said that 2 weeks ago, nobody would have believed you. Williamson with a tough bucket and a timeout by Chris Victor. Nazir DeGroot, 1, 2, 3 Redhawks picking them off, laying it down. Beautiful downtown Abilene, Texas, the Grace Museum. And Brett Tanner trying to give his team a little grace in the last couple of weeks after just a disheartening blowout loss at California Baptist. They have come back with decisive victories, and tonight looks like more of the same. Up by 21 against the 5-4 Redhawks of Seattle. Horniker will try a straight on three. No. And they've cooled off from long range after a hot start.
Well, you have several other people shooting the ball other than Hunter Jack and Keon.
They've missed 13 of their last 14 three-pointers. Moncrief goes to work on Hubbard. A good defense by Hubbard. I think Horniker helping. He get dinged for the personal.
Yeah, that's pretty good defense, but Moncrief is a monster. He just takes him off the dribble. He starts at there at 19, 20 feet. 2-3 dribbles, he's in there. But that's a weight room move.
Moncrief, if there's any chink in the armor, it might be free throw shooting. And a guy of his ability is going to get to the line a lot.
Yeah, in this league.
63% in conference play, makes the first and the second. He's got 18. And kind of last gasp here for Seattle. You got 7 minutes to go. You've seen stranger things. They're going to need some threes to fall and probably going to need ACU to cooperate a bit. Yanni Rivera hounded by Deshaun Stevens, double teamed, and that is the 9th team foul on Seattle. Both teams are going to be in the double bonus for the remainder of this game. This will be the last 1-and-1 for ACU.
You have to keep the ball off the side right now because you know they're going to double. And the problem right now with ACU, and a lot of teams, they start their offense by their first entry pass is from the side. Well, you're inviting trouble.
Chris Victor not happy with the call by Jeff Malum. Yanni Rivera, the sophomore from Puerto Rico. Good shooter. And Chris Victor still speaking his piece to Jeff Malum. And Chris was talking about the similarities between him and Brett Tanner. They both become head coaches in the WAC the same year, 21-22.
Right.
Chris wins a share of the conference title in the regular season. Tanner takes his team to the WAC championship game against New Mexico State. And then as they become D1 head coaches, here comes the portal, here comes NIL. And he said, you just have to keep adapting. That's all you can do. Reach in foul on Bettiol, and after ACU committed just 8 fouls in the first half, that's their 13th of the second. And for Leo, that's his 4th.
Well, there's plenty of time for them to mount a comeback, and we're at Seattle's pace right now.
Goma 2 of 4 at the line, 2 of 5. And they are just 50% of the stripe. They're killing them. You're not going to make them all, but when you're down 21, you'd love to have half a dozen of those back at least. One of 2. Moncrief exits. And Jack Sawyer with his fraternity brothers cheering him on behind him. Delivers to Hunter Jack Madden.
Seattle's forcing ACU to run some stuff instead of transition. Now here we are on the side of the same old double team.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Williams has been terrific tonight. Madden loses it. 9th turnover for ACU. They're +4 in turnover margin. Points off turnovers 18-2. That is ACU basketball. Hanja to the bucket. A lot of contact, and he'll go to the line with 5:55 to play.
Both teams are getting the defense so far in the paint that the pass out is to an open shot. Kids these days choose to dribble drive instead of taking the shot. But they haven't shot the ball well tonight at all. So.
You know, they're less than 30% from the floor, and they just can't buy a free throw.
Yeah, they're killing themselves.
It's been a good free throw shooting team for the season. They've tailed off a bit in conference play.
You know, win or lose, going to Stephenville tomorrow, I bet they get in there and shoot a lot of free throws.
Double team. Williams finds Smith, and Seattle becomes more aggressive. Screen from Sawyer. Smith trying to find Mashai Hill. With a lot of body there. Sawyer the rebound, and fouled as he goes back up. That'll earn him a few extra minutes. Here's a kid who was planning to redshirt, the last player added to the roster. Played for an Aledo high school team known for its football squad, not basketball. They've not had a great basketball run, but Sawyer was a terrific player. And at 6'8", quite frankly, Brett Tanner was telling his coaching staff, go find me a big body. I don't even care if they can play for us on the court. I just want somebody for practice. Give me a 6'7", 6'8" guy. Doug Carliskent, one of Brett Tanner's assistants, found Jack Sawyer and planning to redshirt, but when Joe Vinzant went out for the season with a shoulder injury, redshirt pulled, and now his fraternity brothers are cheering him on as he makes a couple of free throws.
Well, and he earned the right to shoot those two with an offensive board.
Rakovic has it in the high post. Maldonado just struggling tonight after winning Player of the Week honors. He'll get another chance from the corner. It's just not there tonight. Out of bounds it goes, off of ACU, they say. Here comes Rich Smith emerging. Not quite Willis Reed in the Garden, but through the stairwell he comes. He is from the Bronx. There's Leo Bettiol. There's Doug Carliskent to the right of Bettiol. Hanja with a tough finish. The Englishman. Oh, turnover. Maldonado. Fouled by Sawyer.
You know, there's a way to remedy that right there. If you'll bring all four of your players up, line them up, and bring everybody from Seattle up, you can screen, rub, you can do all kinds of things to get the ball in.
Throw one over the top every now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
And Maldonado, 1 of 9 shooting tonight, just 4 points total. Sawyer comes out, Hubbard is in. This game went down to the wire in Seattle. Redhawks got a Moncrief bucket with 4 seconds to go. Back and forth affair. And now Smith ahead to Madden. Reverses his dribble and barely finds Smith, who calls a timeout. So 8 turnovers in the second half of the Wildcats, but so a 17-point lead. ACU has Saturday off.
Yeah.
And talking to Coach Tanner, he said to follow up the wins on the road at Utah Tech and Southern Utah, knowing we've got Saturday off, he put a lot on tonight's game, and his team's responded.
And it's been a grind, and he's gotten them to the edge, and they look a little tired. This break right now could have come at a better time.
Well, and next week, here come Southern Utah and Utah Tech again. The schedule's really weird the way it kind of snakes that way.
Well, it's 2 winnable games.
They beat them on the road last week, and now those 2 teams will be looking for revenge. And those 2 teams are going to be looking to get out of the cellar. They're 8-9 right now. They're playing each other tonight. Utah Tech and Southern Utah are in the second half. They're 8th and 9th in the league. Those 2 teams at the end of the year, 8 and 9, Oh, a charge on Smith, and Brett Tanner's incredulous. Still can't believe it.
That was last year's call.
So another turnover. Yeah, and it's worth noting when Brett Tanner and Joe Golding built this program into a two-time NCAA tournament team, they did it with defense, and a big component of that defensive strategy was beating the opponent, the offensive opponent, to the spot and taking a charge. But there just aren't many charges to take these days as Rajkovic gets fouled on the second chance attempt. Last year they changed the block charge rule to try to create more flow, and you're basically taking away one of ACU's biggest weapons. They were #1 in the nation in turnovers forced and turnover margin a couple of years ago, but now Brett Tanner saying, we've been called for 2 charges in the last 3 minutes. It's throwback night.
Yeah. Well, Leo Bedio's coming in. That'll settle some stuff down because at the pace that we're running right now, if Leo gets down on the block, shows numbers, he'll get his average up.
Victor Rajkovic, his grandfather, Trajko Rajkovic, was part of the Yugoslavian national team that won a silver medal in Mexico City, the 1968 Olympics. They upset the Soviet Union in the semifinals. It looked all the world like it was going to be another USA-USSR gold medal game, and instead, Victor's grandfather and his Yugoslavian teammates had something to say about it. Yeah. Part of a great family basketball tradition. Bedio to DeGrew. ACU trying to get to the finish line here with another double-digit conference win. Up 16 here. A lot for Bedio, and another turnover by ACU. Their 9th of the half. Still time here for the Red Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
But they need some threes to fall. Dawson will try one. And that rims the basket, and Hubbard chases down his 5th board. They just can't get it to drop tonight. They're 1 of 16. 1 of 16 in the game from long range. Hubbard with a nice catch, but he can't keep it in bounds, and the 11th turnover of the half. Media timeout. Yeah. ACU still up big at home.
Vegas is back.
All right, the final media timeout of the night. 3:38 to play in Seattle. With Paris Dawson to the rim. No, but thrown back home by Malik Goma. All right, so here we go. 3.5 minutes, 14-point game.
Now you've got to be very aggressive. You've got to go all the way to the hole. Now go all the way.
Boy, DeGrew nearly took an extra half step. He'll come out of the game in favor of Rich Smith. Bedio comes back in with 4 fouls. Yeah, you're getting close to the point, if you're Abilene Christian, to being in the situation in which you make your free throws and hang on to the ball and you win. But hanging on to the ball has been hard. This is Bedio to Madden. Steps to his left for 3. There you go, Hunter Jack Madden.
Yeah, it's back. He's back.
Big week last week, scored 40 points in those 2 games, 22 and 18. And that may have been the finishing touch to thwart any kind of a Seattle comeback. Goma to his left. Finishes over Bedio.
Now you got to go.
Madden brings it across the 10-second line. Call a timeout after being double teamed. And he says, Tanner says, don't go there. Now the extra pass gave Hunter Jack Madden a chance. Made it 3 early in the game.
I'm surprised Leo gave the ball up. Look at where Leo gets the ball right here.
Yeah, against a guard. But Madden.
Yeah, that's true.
But the tendonitis really limited his ability to elevate for about a month. And then, trying to fight through it, to his credit, he then suddenly lost every bit of confidence that he had. Yeah. And his teammates, kept telling him, shoot, shoot, shoot. But Hunter Jack went through a stretch in which Coach, he was 7 of 42 for 3 over 9 games. Broke out of that last week in Utah.
Hey, you don't want to pick the ball up on the side. You need to get the ball in the middle of the floor. There you go. Now you can't double.
ACU milking clock.
You're going to go to Leo, let him show numbers.
Smith, not a three-point shooter. Finds Keon Williams to beat the shot clock buzzer.
That was it right there. But you know what, Grant? I've got to hand it to Seattle. Had they been able to shoot, this would be like a 1 or 2 trip game.
Heimbrot working on cue. Well, good patience.
Yeah.
Second bucket for Heimbrot. Under 2 minutes to play. Couple of timely threes after ACU went cold long range. Bettiol wide open. Blocked. Sticks with it and finishes.
Well, that's 4 possessions, 8 points.
8 points and 8 rebounds for Bettiol. Back to an 18-point advantage. It's going to be 3 wins in a row in the WAC for ACU, which was 1-6 2 weeks ago. And a foul on ACU's Keon Williams. It's his first of the game. How about the defense that he's played? And here for 38.5 minutes.
Well, I think Keon
doesn't commit a foul.
I think he's found his stride the last, I don't know, half a dozen games from what I've been able to see.
He got 3 Wildcats who've scored in double digits. Moncrief leads all scorers with 18. Again, a short trip to Stephenville, Texas, about an hour and a half away. That's kind of how the night's gone for the Red Hawks. They are 16 of 30 at the free throw line. And they've made just 1 of 16 from 3.
Yeah, that's bad.
The threes from Madden and Keon Williams with the final straws for the Wildcats tonight as the Red Hawks tried to mount a last challenge. Maldonado with another takeaway. Smith denying, but a foul called. And free throws coming. So ACU, if you're Brett Tanner,
yeah,
I love this as a head coach. It's perfect. You get a big win, you thrill the home folks, but you turn it over 12 times in the second half so you can yell at your team about all the things they didn't do tonight.
When they get back Monday.
After giving them a couple of days off, right?
Yeah.
You're not as good as you think. That's one of his mantras.
Well, you're only as good as your last game. Well, you're only as good as your last game.
You're never, and this is what Coach Tanner was talking about. We weren't as bad as we looked against California Baptist. And I think he'll tell them, hey, forget about the final margin. We're not 18 points better than Seattle. We got them tonight. Move on, rest, and get ready for 2 games next week against Southern Utah and Utah Tech.
Got to put a lot of games together, good games, if you're going to win this tournament in Las Vegas.
It was a 7-game win streak last season and another turnover by ACU. Panja traveled. Oh, jump ball. ACU with the possession arrow. And again, Keon Williams, just 1 foul tonight, but a menace defensively.
Oh, it's been an animal.
3 steals for Keon Williams. When your steals exceed your fouls, that is impressive. A lob for Bettiol from Madden. Oh, and Leo, that kind of a night. Struggled a bit shooting. 8 points, 9 rebounds, 4 of 10 from the floor. And another takeaway by Madden. Ahead to DeGrew. Rising up and throwing it down. 17 fast break points. We talked about what Coach Tanner said before the game and what you said. Be aggressive. Attack.
Attack, 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 even for 40 minutes. Game's not over. You made a great point. You've got to carry over what you did well in this game to next Thursday. That can't die for a lack of a second.
Colby Tanner, son of the head coach. His younger brother Carson, one of the team managers. It's a family affair. Lindsay, his wife, is here. And there's the 3 that Maldonado's been looking for all night.
One thing about Lindsay Tanner, she knows where all her boys are.
It's true.
They're all out of town.
Well, this is a true team effort for Abilene Christian tonight, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of minutes by a lot of players. They dodged a couple of bullets last week in Utah with in-game injuries to Rivera and Keon Williams, but neither bad enough to miss more than a game or two. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Christian Alston, shot fake. To the basket he goes, running out of time. Hill, it did get the rim, but that is it. Abilene Christian suddenly resurgent with its third straight conference victory by a double-digit margin. They score 85 on average last week. They come home and put up 75 against the team that leads the conference in points allowed. 64 Seattle allows its opponents in conference play. ACU goes 11 better tonight.
Yeah, well, and ACU's found themselves. A lot of the teams in the league that run, we've had 2 or 3 teams, or actually 2 teams be in first place, everyone else below them scrambling. ACU's found themselves.
And what this does for Abilene Christian is it inches them a little bit closer to Seattle. Redhawks fall to 5-5, and ACU goes to 4-6. Yeah, and now the student section can celebrate. All right, while we have a moment, let's send it down to Zion with our player of the game.
3 in a row for you guys. How does it feel?
It's feeling amazing, amazing, amazing.
And then for you, 16 and 7 in this game. What got you flowing, man?
I've been out a couple days with a little leg injury, but today we did good recovery and good stretching, and my team had my back, so that's what had me going.
All right, great. Thank you, Keon. Guys at the desk, up to you.
Thank you, Zion. Welcome to your post-game show, brought to you by 4M Autoplex. Roman, the script kind of turned on its head there a little bit in that second half. What did you see out there?
Yeah, I mean, really messy for both teams. Seattle does not turn the ball over that much, and ACU was able to speed them up, especially early in that second half, and get them to turn the ball over a ton, led to this big victory.
Yeah, and even though ACU came into this half with a 14-point margin, it grew a little bit, but even then, it kind of stayed right about that time. ACU definitely did not have that momentum. What kind of led to that, do you think? Yeah, I mean, Seattle just was able to get inside and get a lot of free throws. I mean, ACU was really messy, especially late in that second half, but credit to Seattle, they were just able to, hang in this game, hang around, don't get down too much, and allow for this game to get out of hand, and they hung around. Yeah, taking a look at some of those team stats, in that first half, ACU was shooting really well out there, but really started to kind of struggle with those shots. It was really kind of just a game of free throws kind of in that second half, Roman. Right, and ACU had forced 15 turnovers and had 18 points off those turnovers. Huge for them there, and we saw it with Keon Williams, Braden Hubbard, Rich Smith, really the key faces of this ACU win. Yeah, and so then coming out of this game, ACU staying in Texas for the rest of the season, only 2 more away games. How's that going to help the momentum for this team? Yeah, I mean, they had a brutal travel schedule throughout the conference play so far, but now they stay in Texas until the WAC tournament in Vegas. It's going to be great for them to get healthy, get some good practices, and just keep their feet under them as they finish conference play. Yeah, and it's almost a little bit nostalgic right now. This is going to be the last conference team or conference game against Seattle this season. They're going to be heading out to a different conference after this. So for Roman, I've been Joshua Varner. We're going to set it down to Ron and Grant down at the desk, guys.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Coach, there is rest for the weary. ACU 3 straight wins. Now they get Saturday off.
Well, they've earned it. They deserve it, and they got to regenerate.
3 straight dominant victories for Abilene Christian. 2 on the road last week in Utah, and tonight 75-59 they beat Seattle. For Ron Holmes, our producer Hutton Harris and his team, and the team, I'm Grant Boone. Good night from Moody Coliseum.